There's something people don't understand about breakups. They think the moment it ends is the moment everything is felt. They believe that when she walks away, whatever she feels in that moment is final. If she looks calm, she must be over it. If she seems happy, she must have moved on. But emotions don't work like that. Real emotions, the ones that stay, the ones that shape you, don't arrive when everything is loud. They arrive in silence. Right after the breakup, her mind is in survival mode. It's trying to justify the decision to protect her from doubt. So she focuses on the reasons it ended, the arguments, the frustrations, the things that didn't feel right. And in that phase, it can look like she's completely unaffected, like you didn't matter as much as you thought. But what's really happening is something deeper. Her mind is creating distance so she doesn't have to face the weight of what she just lost. Because loss isn't something the human brain rushes into. It approaches it slowly, carefully, almost like it's afraid of the truth. And then one day, usually when she's not expecting it, something shifts. It's not dramatic. There's no big moment, no announcement. It's subtle, quiet. Maybe she's going through her day like normal, and something small reminds her of you, a place, a smell, a song, or maybe it's a situation. Something goes wrong, and for a split second, she reaches for her phone almost instinctively to tell you about it. And then it hits her. You're not there anymore. That's when reality starts to settle in, and this is where regret begins. Not as pain, but as awareness. Because now she's no longer looking at the relationship through the lens of frustration. She's looking at it through absence. And absence has a way of highlighting what presence once provided. The little things start to come back. The way you listened when she needed to talk, even when it wasn't convenient. The way you understood her moods without her having to explain them. The consistency you brought into her life, the kind that felt ordinary at the time, but now feels rare. There's a reason psychologists say that emotional processing is delayed. It's because when something ends, the brain doesn't immediately calculate its true value. It needs time, time to compare, time to experience life without that person, time to feel the difference between having something and not having it. And that difference is where regret grows. I remember hearing about someone who ended a relationship because she felt like something was missing. She couldn't quite explain it, but she thought maybe there was something better out there. So she left. At first, everything felt new and exciting, new conversations, new attention, new possibilities. But as time went on, that excitement started to fade, and in its place, something unexpected showed up. Comparison, not forced comparison, natural comparison. She started noticing how others didn't listen the same way, how conversations felt more surface level, how the effort wasn't consistent, and without trying to, she began measuring those experiences against what she had before, against you. That's when the realization started to take shape, not all at once, but piece by piece. What she had wasn't perfect, but it was real. It was steady. It was something that didn't have to prove itself every day because it was already there. And now without it, everything else felt incomplete. That's the part people don't see. They don't see the quiet moments where someone sits with their thoughts and starts questioning their decision. They don't see the internal conversations, the what ifs, the memories replaying in a different light. Because regret doesn't always reach out. It doesn't always come back with words. Sometimes it just stays there growing in silence. And the truth is, the longer it takes for that realization to come, the deeper it hits. Because by the time she fully understands what she lost, life has already moved forward. The moment has passed. The opportunity to fix things isn't as simple as it once was, and that's when regret turns from a thought into a feeling she can't ignore. So, if it feels like she hasn't felt anything yet, it doesn't mean she won't. It just means the story isn't finished. Some emotions take time to arrive, and when they do, they don't ask for permission. They just stay. There's a truth most people overlook when a relationship ends. They think once it's over, everything resets, like the next person starts from zero, like what you had together just disappears. but that's not how the mind works. And it's definitely not how emotions work. You don't leave a relationship empty. You leave with a reference point, a standard. And whether she admits it or not, you become part of that standard. At first, she may not notice it. In the beginning, everything feels fresh. New conversations feel exciting, new. Attention feels validating. There's a sense of possibility, like maybe this time it'll be even better. And in that phase, she's not thinking about you the way you might expect. She's focused on what's in front of her, on what's new, on what feels different. But here's the thing about different, it doesn't always mean better. And because over time, the surface fades, the excitement settles, and what's left is the reality of who that new person is, how they show up, how they handle emotions, how they respond when things aren't perfect. That's when the deeper layers of comparison begin. Not intentional comparison, not something she plans, it just happens. She notices how long it takes for him to reply. She notices how he reacts when she's upset. She notices whether he listens or just waits for his turn to speak. And slowly, without even trying, her mind starts pulling up memories of you. Not as nostalgia, but as contrast. Because what you gave her, your consistency, your presence, your understanding, those things weren't flashy. They weren't loud. They didn't always stand out in the moment, but they built something solid. And now that she's experiencing something different, she begins to feel the absence of what you used to provide. There's research in relationship psychology that shows people often underestimate emotional stability when they have it. It feels normal, expected, almost invisible. But when it's gone, it becomes one of the most valued traits. Because stability isn't something you notice when it's there, it's something you feel when it's missing. And that's where the shift happens. She might meet someone who's more exciting, more spontaneous, maybe even more charming at first. But when real life kicks in, when stress shows up, when emotions get complicated, when consistency actually matters, that's when differences become clear. And that's when the mind starts asking quiet questions. Why did this feel easier before? Why did I feel more understood? Why does this feel incomplete? There's a story of a woman who left a relationship because she thought she needed more excitement. She felt like things had become too predictable, too routine, so she walked away believing she'd find something that gave her more. And for a while, she did. She met people who brought energy, who made things feel new again. But over time, she started to feel something she couldn't explain. It wasn't boredom, it was instability. The conversations didn't go as deep. The effort wasn't as consistent. The emotional connection didn't feel as secure. And without realizing it, she started comparing those experiences to what she once had. Not because she wanted to go back, but because her mind was trying to understand the difference between temporary excitement and lasting connection. And that's when it hit her. What she had before wasn't lacking, it was grounded. It was something that didn't need constant stimulation to feel real. It was something that could survive silence, stress, and time. And now everything else felt like it was missing that foundation. That's the part people don't talk about. They don't talk about how comparison slowly reshapes perception, how the things she once took for granted become the things she struggles to find again, how your presence, your effort, your way of showing up becomes a quiet benchmark that others are measured against. And the truth is, not everyone will meet that standard, not because you were perfect, but because what you gave was genuine, and genuine is rare. It's not something that can be easily replicated or replaced. It's built through time, through shared experiences, through understanding someone on a level that goes beyond surface interaction. So when she moves on, it doesn't erase you, it reveals you. Because every new experience adds context to the old one. Every difference highlights something that was once there. And over time, those comparisons stop being small observations and start becoming realizations. Realizations that don't always come with words, realizations that don't always lead to action, but they stay. They sit in the background, shaping how she sees things, how she feels, how she remembers. And that's the quiet power of what you had. It doesn't need to compete because it becomes the standard everything else is compared to. There's a moment in every story like this that changes everything. And it's not the breakup, it's not the silence, it's not even the time apart. It's the moment she realizes you didn't stay where she left you. Because whether people admit it or not, when someone walks away, there's often an unspoken expectation attached to it. A quiet belief that no matter what happens next, you'll still be there in some form. Maybe not in her life, but in her reach, in her control, as someone who hasn't fully let go. And for a while, that belief feels true. She goes on with her life, exploring new paths, meeting new people, experiencing new emotions. And in the back of her mind, there's this sense that if she ever looked back, if she ever changed her mind, you'd still be standing in the same place, waiting, unchanged, available. But life doesn't work like that because while she's figuring things out, you are too. You're rebuilding, you're healing, you're learning how to exist without the person who once meant everything to you. And it's not easy. There are nights where you question everything, moments where you almost reach out, days where it feels like you're moving forward and backward at the same time. But slowly something shifts. You start focusing on yourself, not to prove anything to her, but because you have no other choice. You invest your time into growth, your energy into becoming stronger, more grounded, more aware of who you are and what you deserve. And over time, the version of you that existed during the relationship begins to evolve into something new, something she hasn't seen before. And that's where everything changes. Because at some point, whether through social media, mutual friends, or pure coincidence, she notices. She sees that you're not the same person she left behind. She sees that you didn't stay stuck in the past, that your life didn't pause when she walked away, and more importantly, she sees that you're okay, not pretending, not forcing it, actually okay. And that realization hits differently than anything else because now the dynamic she once believed in no longer exists. You're no longer the constant in the background. You're no longer the person she can quietly rely on being there. You've become someone who moved forward without her. And that's when the questions begin to surface. Not loud, not dramatic, but persistent. What if I misjudged him? What if I walked away from something real? What if he doesn't feel the same anymore? These questions don't come from loneliness. They come from loss of control, from realizing that the person she thought would always be an option is no longer within reach. There's a story about a man who went through a painful breakup. At first, he struggled. He held on to hope, replayed memories, questioned his worth, but instead of staying in that space, he made a decision. He chose to grow. He worked on his mindset, his health, his purpose. Months passed, and he became someone more confident, more centered, more fulfilled. And then one day, his ex reached out, not with a clear explanation, not with a plan, just a message. Hey, I've been thinking about you. And when they finally spoke, her words revealed everything she hadn't said before. I didn't realize what I had when I had it. I thought I had more time. I thought you'd always be there. It's not, it's that. But by then, things were different because the version of him that once would have waited no longer existed. And that's the part that hits the hardest. Regret isn't just about missing someone, it's about realizing you can't go back to who they were when you had them. It's about understanding that time doesn't pause for second chances, that growth changes people, that moving on isn't just distance, it's transformation. So when she sees you now, she's not just seeing you, she's seeing the reality of what she lost and what she can't reclaim in the same way. And that realization carries weight because now it's not just a memory of what was, it's a confrontation with what could have been, with the version of you that might have stayed, that might have loved her the same way, that might have built something lasting if things had gone differently. but life doesn't move in reverse. And that's why this moment matters so much, because it's not about proving anything to her. It's not about making her regret it. It's about becoming someone who no longer needs validation from the past, someone who understands their own value regardless of who recognizes it. And when you reach that point, something powerful happens. Her regret may arrive, but your need for it disappears.